Good morning, students. Today we are going to start the new unit, that is unit number 5, interacting with database. It will be asked for 12 marks in MSBT examination. So let's start. So before discussing this topic, we know that the we are using the applications. The applications may be static or web based. Okay, so the database is very one of the important part of the every application, because we are storing the data which is entered by the user in some particular database. So the database is at a backend side, and it plays a vital role in every application. So we have seen some applications, or we have executed the programs before this topic. They not require any database. We seen the output on the command prompt. We seen the output of the program in a console. Okay, but for storing that data we need database. Okay, so there are many types of databases, as we have studied in relational database management system. Okay, so in this unit we will see how to connect that database to the application, then which drivers are required for that. Then we will see which queries are required to insert the data, update the data. Okay, so some SQL statements are needed for inserting or executing some database operations. So we will see all that. So first point is introduction to JDBC and ODBC. So this is a one of introductory part of the of this topic. So today we will see what is JDBC, ODBC, and some architecture. So first we will see ODBC before going to JDBC. ODBC is nothing but, or it stands for Open Database Connectivity. ODBC is nothing but Open Database Connectivity. It is an SQL based application programming interface, that is short form for application programming interface is API, and it is created by Microsoft. It is created by Microsoft, that is used by Windows software applications. That is used by only Windows softwares, Windows software application to access database via SQL. Then using ODBC driver interface, using ODBC driver interface, and application can access the data present in database management system. Okay, so driver interface, that is ODBC drivers interface, is important to access the data which is present in that database management system. Then for accessing the data from DBMS, that is database management system, we normally make use of structured query languages statement. Okay, we know that SQL. So we need SQL statements to access the data or to perform some operation on that DBMS, which is known as query. That statements are known as, which is known as SQL queries. So it is about ODBC. And next is JDBC. So JDBC is nothing but Java database connectivity. JDBC is Java database connectivity. ODBC is Open Database Connectivity. So JDBC is an application programming interface. Again, it is API used to connect Java applications with database. It is used to connect the Java application. We are developing only front end. We have developed the programs. We have seen some programs, or we have developed some graphical interface, that is GUI, using various AWT swing component. Okay, so that is only a front end. That is only a front end. So to connect or to store the data, we need database. Okay, so connecting Java application with the database, we need a API, that is application programming interface, and it is given by provided by JDBC. Then JDBC is SQL based API created by Sun Microsystem. JDBC is created by Sun Microsystem, where as ODBC is created by Microsoft. It is created by Microsoft, ODBC, and JDBC is created by Sun Microsystem. To enable Java application to use SQL for database access. Then JDBC is used to interact with various types of database such as Oracle, MS Access, MS SQL, SQL Server. So these are the various types of database we have seen, or we have heard about this database: Oracle, MS Access, MS SQL, SQL Server. These are all types of database. Then JDBC can also defined as platform independent interface. It is a very important type. This is very important line. That is, it is platform independent interface. So it will be executed on any platform. So JDBC can also define as platform independent interface between relational database and Java programming. So this thing, that is platform independent, is important. It allows Java program to execute SQL statement and retrieve result from database. So if you want to retrieve the data from the database, we have to execute the queries, that is SQL statement, okay, to retrieve the result from database. The JDBC API consists of classes and methods. Okay, JDBC API consists of various classes and methods that are used to perform various operations like connect, read, write, store data in database. So these are number of operations are we can perform on the database. We can read, write, update, delete, search, store, insert, connect. So these are various types of database operations. So we will see afterward these, how these operations will perform on database. But that JDBC API, it will consist all the classes and methods required for these operations. Then this is a diagram about how the JDBC connect the Java application to the database. So here it is a database and here it is a Java application. It is connect to the database via JDBC API. and driver manager. Then it will driver manager uses the JDBC driver and access the database. So this is a overview, or it is a diagram how the application, Java application or front end will access the database. For that data accessing, we need JDBC API. It will use driver manager of JDBC, and it will access the database via using the JDBC driver. Okay, so this is how JDBC connect Java application to the database. Then we will see the difference between the ODBC and JDBC. Difference between the ODBC and JDBC. So as we have studied earlier, ODBC stands for Open Database Connectivity. JDBC stands for Java Database Connectivity. Okay, ODBC is Open Database Connectivity, JDBC is Java Database Connectivity. And ODBC is developed by or introduced by Microsoft in 1992, whereas JDBC is introduced by Sun Microsystem in 1997. So for the multiple choice questions, there may be questions asked on these points of the difference. So ODBC is developed by which, JDBC is developed by whom. So remember, Microsoft developed ODBC, Sun Microsystem developed JDBC. Then we can use ODBC for any language like C, C++, Java, whereas we can use JDBC only for Java language. It is only for Java language. In the name itself, JDBC, Java Database Connectivity. So it is only for Java language, whereas ODBC can be used for any language like C, C++, Java. That is Open Database Connectivity. But exactly opposite that, we can choose ODBC only for Windows platform. ODBC, the drawback of ODBC is it is only for Windows platform. It will not execute on another platform. So ODBC is platform dependent. So and JDBC, we can use JDBC in any platform. We can use JDBC in any platform, that is platform independent. Then neglect this point. Next, for Java applications, it is not recommended to use ODBC. For Java application, it is not recommended to use ODBC. So for developing JDBC Java application, it is not recommended because performance will be down due to internal conversion, and applications will become platform dependent. So that is why it is not recommended, because it is platform dependent. While for Java application, it is highly recommended to use JDBC. Okay, for Java application, developing the Java application, it is recommended to use JDBC because as we know, there is no performance and platform dependent problem. Okay, so that is why it is recommended to use JDBC for developing the Java application. One more point is there, ODBC is procedure oriented, that is procedural, and whereas JDBC is object oriented. Okay, it is object oriented JDBC, and ODBC is procedural. Okay, JDBC is nothing but ODBC is procedural, while JDBC is object oriented. Okay, then so this is the difference between the ODBC and JDBC. Then we will see next last point, that is JDBC architecture. So there are it support JDBC two types of processing models for accessing the database. Java JDBC supports two types of processing models for accessing database. That is, one is two-tier model and second is three-tier model. First is two-tier model and second is three-tier model. So first of all, we will see the what is two-tier architecture. Okay, so it name as suggests two-tier. Next is three tiers. Okay, so in two-tier two components, three-tier three components. But which are they? We will see in this two-tier model. Java program or Java application to directly communicate with the database. For this communication, JDBC driver API is required. JDBC driver API is required. Query or request. Query or request is sent by the user to database, and then results are received back by the user. Means whenever we give any request or any we will client will do some operation on the database, and then the result whatever the results, they can be received by that client or by that user. Okay, then the database may be present. It is important, the database may be present on the same machine, on the same machine or any remote machine, uh, on the same machine or any remote machine. But if the database is present on another remote machine, they are connected via network. They are connected via network, not by internet. They are connected by network only. Okay, this approach is called client server architecture. This approach is called client server architecture or configuration. Okay, and if we see the diagram for this, so this is a two tier, the Java application, and that is a database, and JDBCI JDBC API through which the Java application can interact with the database. Okay, or it can Java application can connect with the database through the JDBC API. JDBC API is required for three tier also, but two tiers. I mean, one is Java application, another is database. So these are two important components: Java application and database. So Java application can connect the database through JDBC API, and after giving some request, then Java application can receive the result back through the again JDBC API. So this is a architecture for two tier, or we can say that it is a two tier architecture. Two components: Java application and database. Then next is three tier architecture. Okay, in this architecture there is no direct communication with database. Important is there is no direct communication with database. So here HTML browser will send requests to the Java applications. We cannot access directly the Java application. Instead of that, using the HTML browser, we will send first request to the Java application. Then again, the Java application will then communicate with the database through JDBC API. Means the third new component is here, that is browser, HTML browser. Through browser, we can first give request to that application, and then application will interact with that database. So it is a three tier. Then database processes the request and sends the result back to middle tier. Database processes the request and sends result back to middle tier, which then communicates with the user. So in three tier, it increases the performance and simplifies the application deployment. So using there is a more increase in the performance in the three tier. Okay, so HTML browser is a through browser we are giving a request to force application, and then application will interact with that database. While in a two tier there is only a Java application and database, it will connect application to database via JDBC API. So this is a major difference between a two tier and three tier. Okay, then we can see here a three tier architecture. As we have studied HTML browser, HTML browser will give the request to the Java application, and the Java application will connect to that database through JDBC API, and whatever the result of that request are again back to that Java application through the JDBC API, and then it will give that output and output to that browser. So HTML browser is another component in a three-tier architecture. In two-tier architecture, only this part is there: Java application, JDBC API, and database. Okay, so today we will stop here. We have seen today what is ODBC, then who is developed ODBC, then JDBC, the long form of JDBC, types of database, who is developed JDBC. JDBC is developed by Microsystem, Sun Microsystem. Then ODBC is developed by Microsoft. Then here is how the JDBC connect to the Java application. This is a diagram, and one of the important concept is that the important point, the difference between ODBC and JDBC is there are some small difference between the ODBC and the JDBC. ODBC is a platform only; it will execute on the Windows platform, so it is a platform dependent, and JDBC is platform independent. But JDBC is only for Java language, whereas ODBC for it will be executed for any languages. Okay, then ODBC is procedural and JDBC is object oriented. So this is the difference between ODBC, JDBC. Then the architecture for JDBC, there are two types: two tier model and three tier model. In two tier model, only Java application will communicate with database through the JDBC API, and in three tier there is another component add HTML browser. The HTML browser will give first request to the Java application. Java application will communicate with the database and receive the result back to the Java application through the JDBC API, and it will pass the output to the HTML browser. So there is a two types of architecture: two tier architecture and three tier architecture. Okay, so today we will stop here. In next lecture we will see the next point. Okay.